Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Michael Daly, your host of the Real 1% podcast. Just want to thank you guys and girls for coming back for another episode. As always, I like to say this special guest coming up next has a slew of experience, a wealth of knowledge. So I hope you guys stick around to the very end. And Jeremiah is the founder and CEO of Conquer Academy. He's an elite coach. He works with people all the way up to the eight-figure range. He's actually used to be an engineer, but he got out of the military as a ranger, combat infantry commander. He's been on 4 deployments. He's hit high special value targets. He's done a 103-mile race in the Rockies. So, he's on some David Goggins shit right now. And, he's got a track record for conquering everything mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And he also he has over 17 years of leadership experience with he talks about mindset, and he's actually changed his mindset from coming from a town of 300 people where he should have been a hunter-gatherer, Tarzan, like you said before we got on, to actually now working with the top 1% of the world's earners. He has over 4 combat deployments. He was a Ranger platoon leader. So I'd like to talk to him about that as well. And he believes that winning is the ultimate respect in life, and me too, as coming from like a sports background, you look about LeBron James, Michael Jordan, all the Ken Griffey Jr., all these people are winners. Okay. Like not everyone can win, but everyone can if they put their mind and their effort into doing that. So without further ado, we'll dive into some more high value targets later. Jeremiah, how you doing this morning, brother?
Michael, thanks for having me on, guys, gals, everybody that's listening. Hey, as I come into every single presentation, I'm excited to be here. But as I come into every single presentation, my goal is to change your life. That's my intent. I don't know what you're looking for exactly, but all you really need in life to change is that one little piece of information, that one little nugget. It's kind of like sieving through the dirt. When I was a kid, I used to play in the riverbed. Like my parents would take me out. We'd go play in the river and we'd go pan for gold. And life and success and changing your life is a lot like panning for gold. You pick it up, you get into the river and you start sieving around. You're looking for that one piece of gold that'll just change your life. Now, there's going to be fool's gold in there from time to time. You're going to have this information that comes to you and it's not really going to help you out. But if and when you find that one piece of gold, it can change your entire trajectory. Okay, so that's my goal here today, is to help you guys change your life, no matter what it is that you're setting out to go conquer. And Michael, I'm excited to be here and help out your team, bro.
Hey, appreciate you being here and look forward to diving in even further. So without further ado, man, what made you join the Army at first? You coming from a small town, was it something that your family did, or I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a lot of I kind of hesitate like talking about this because it's actually a little bit embarrassing. I joined the military out of desperation. I
Okay.
felt bad afterwards because a lot of guys join out of patriotism. I just wanted to change my life. You see, I grew up in that little small town in Northern California of about 300 people. My dad used to hunt and fish a lot, and I would join him. And he used to do that to help, put food on the table. So I come from humble beginnings and I have a loving family, but I bootstrap blue collar type family, right? And didn't really have television or the internet. And so we lived off, the land essentially. And I have my 3 brothers. And I didn't really dream that big. I didn't really have big ambitions in life. I didn't really know what was really out there in the world. And I lived a kind of a sheltered life. And what ended up happening is I got into high school because I had brothers. I could hold my own. And I tried out for the wrestling team. Some older kids convinced me to come out. And when I did that, I actually performed relatively well and I got addicted to the sport. That caused me to start building up some confidence in myself. And I got addicted to that process. I got addicted to that winning, and I failed a ton. I mean, my freshman year, everybody beat me as a wrestler. And then by my senior year, I lost 2 matches that entire year. But that wasn't good enough for me to continue on. And I wanted deep down inside, I wanted to be an athlete, but I wasn't performing at the level that I wanted to perform at inside of my head. I didn't qualify for state that year. And when I didn't qualify for state, I said, well, I guess I'm just not good enough. And so I gave up. I gave up on the dream. So I went to a community college because that's what everybody else was doing. And I literally had no plan. I was just like, after high school, I was like, I have no fucking idea what I'm going to do in my life. And so I was like, just join the crowd. And I go to community college and really I'm just wasting my life. I I spent 2 semesters there. I'm underage, but I am drinking, and I'm just having the party lifestyle, and there's just no purpose. I come home one day, and all my friends were like, we were just living that lifestyle of drinking and partying. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then in this period, I was just feeling like a failure. I was feeling like I gave up on my dream. I felt like I was drifting through life. I felt like there was just no purpose, direction, or motivation in me at all. And it's hard to even describe and put into words, but I was so miserable inside that I just was just beating myself up every single day and then turning to alcohol to just go have fun, right?
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is I came home one day and I was like, enough is enough. I was like, I got to change this. I can't live like this. Let me just get out of this situation. I'm tired of the party lifestyle, right? So I signed up for the military, and I go. Next thing you know, I'm in Iraq, and I signed up, enlisted in the military in 2005. I'm in Iraq in 2006, and I spent 15 months there.
Okay.
When I came in the military, I was an enlisted engineer. So I was on the support side of the military, and I picked that job because I thought that it made sense. I thought that it was a respectable job that I could use when I got out. And again, I wasn't really listening to my heart. Like, I wasn't really listening to me, and I wasn't dream chasing. I just picked a career that I thought everybody else would respect, and one that I thought made logical sense for life. And what that caused me to do is I got to Iraq, and I was there for 15 months, and I was like, kind of in that same cycle of like, what am I doing, man? Why did I pick this job? Why am I doing this kind of work? And it was 2 o'clock in the morning in the city of Bakuba, and I was laying down. We were putting in a patrol base for the infantry that we're going through. There was a gunfight going on. The 82nd Airborne was going through and clearing this village. And I remember seeing the gunfire. It was about a mile from my location. And I was laying there 2 o'clock in the morning, just staring up at the sun in between some concrete barriers with my gun on my chest, my helmet on, and I was just dripping with sweat. And I'm like, what in the hell am I doing with my life, man? What the hell happened? And I was like, why am I over here? I should be over there in that gunfight. Like, I had this warrior's call in the middle of all of this soul searching that I was doing in Iraq and all of this, in this moment. And I'm like, I should be over there in that gunfight, man. And in that moment, I wanted to make a difference in the military. I wanted to pursue a dream. And there was a calling inside of me to do something better with my life than what I had settled for. And that put me on a track of pursuing the dream of becoming an officer, an infantry officer, getting into special operations. And it was tough and hard, but from the time I signed up, it was about a 9-year journey from the day I enlisted and to the day I accomplished my dream of becoming a Ranger platoon leader. And so I basically made it into the NFL in my mind, right? I'm like, the Rangers are freaking elite unit, man. Top 0.01%, right? 0.01%. And not only did I make it into the Super Bowl, but also the platoon that I was assigned to, the Bad Mothers platoon, they were selected to go overseas and do high-value target raids against enemy combatants in the United States, which meant that they were the platoon selected to go play in the Super Bowl. So not only was I in the NFL, but our platoon was chosen to go play in the Super Bowl. And there, at this point in time, there was only 2 Ranger platoons that were selected to go do these missions in Afghanistan, and my platoon was one of them. And I was the Strike Force 1 platoon leader. So I was like, damn, dude, I'm like the quarterback of the damn Super Bowl team. And so my life had completely changed, right? And I accomplished that dream. What ended up happening, though, is unfortunately my last Ranger mission was a mission gone south. We had a barricaded shooter with machine gun fire, small arms fire. This guy was dropping grenades down on top of me and my guys, and we had a lot of friendly forces that were wounded. My leaders all got wounded. One of the team leaders lost an eye, and the partner force that we were assigned to, we lost we had about a whole squad of casualties from that. Unfortunately, nobody died that night, but it was a mission gone south. And after that had happened, I beat myself up for that mission for a long time. I felt like I failed. Now, looking back, we didn't fail because nobody died that night. And I was suffering from some leader guilt from that mission. And I started hitting the bottle again. I started drinking a lot. I came back from that deployment, and I was alone and by myself, and I was attending a military school away from my wife, and everything just started compounding. And nobody knew at the school that I was going through this, but Every single night I'm drinking, getting hammered. And then one night it gets really bad and I'm just battling the demons of deployment, battling the demons of leadership guilt, battling the demons of everything else in my life that was going on at the time, personal issues, relationship challenges, life things. And it all stacked up and I had a gun to my head one night.
Okay.
And I almost ended it. And I just felt like an absolute failure. Like here I was, I transformed my life. I accomplished my dream job, but it wasn't the dream. It was almost a nightmare at the end of it. Now what ended up happening is that night I really dissected all of my failures. I dissected my entire life and I just decided, you know what, enough is enough. Instead of living the way that I was living in guilt, shame, embarrassment, I was going to choose to live a higher quality life. I was going to give up drinking. I was going to change my lifestyle. I was going to take my life more seriously. I was going to try to be holistically successful, not just successful in my career. I was going to work on my daily habits. I was going to work on my discipline. I was going to work on my mindset. I was going to get into personal development. And so I did that and I found a mentor and he started mentoring me. We set goals. I went back to Afghanistan. I ended up writing a book on that deployment for military athletes to help them to get into special operations. And then I launched my coaching business. But the only way I did that was through his mentorship. And so what ended up happening is my time in service came to like a crossroads. I was a company commander and I was deciding whether or not I should continue on in the military or if I should separate from service. And I was soul searching. So I signed up for a 100-mile race in the Colorado Rockies. I actually signed up for the race on a Sunday. And then I ran the race the following Saturday. So 6 days after I signed up for a 100-mile race, I go and run this thing in the Colorado Rockies, no train up. And I'm soul searching in life. And I get out there and I have this epiphany moment that what I'm really chasing in life is more purpose. I realize that my calling is that what I'm designed to do is to build leaders. That's what makes me the happiest. That's where I'm in the flow state. That's where I feel the most fulfilled. My entire military career, the achievements were great. But what I really loved was helping out the squad leaders, helping out the team leaders, helping out the platoon leaders, helping out the platoon sergeant, me and everybody working together, helping each other out and building leaders. And what I realized on that race was that if I wanted to make the biggest impact possible before I died, I had to leave the service because the military was limiting my reach. I was basically restricted by time and how many people I could influence through the military pipeline. So I dove out and I started coaching people in the civilian sector. And what ended up happening is I just started getting people results, man. And then word of mouth started happening. And I just obsessed over helping people with all different sorts of things like work-life balance, making money, their individual leadership, basically business and life success. And that just kept, compounding and compounding. Next thing you know, I'm teaching and training and coaching leaders of $1 billion company. I get published in Forbes magazine. I was just at a mastermind. I dropped $15K on a 2-day mastermind down here in Miami. Like there was a point in my life where $15K a year was like, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
So anyways, long story short is that what ended up happening for me is that I I started pursuing my calling. I left my comfort, got out of the military. And what I do now is I help people get what they want. A lot of times that's helping business owners and leaders make more money and through leadership and mindset training. But other times it's just helping people with their mindset, their fitness, and their discipline get on track so that they're not living in a cycle of bad habits and low performance.
No, absolutely, dude. Appreciate you sharing that. I got to go backwards a little bit because you just put a whole bunch of stuff out there. And I want to talk a little bit about some of those things. So during that 9 years that it took you to get to, your ultimate, goal as the quarterback into the NFL of the military space, what was the hardest thing for you to accomplish? What was your hardest speed bump to get over?
Yeah. Well, the first thing, whenever you pursue a dream, everybody has a dream inside of them. When you close your eyes and you start thinking and you let your mind relax, your dream starts to become revealed to you. And so there's a calling and a vision inside of all of us. And one of the hardest things, the hardest first steps is believing that you could actually accomplish it. So belief for me was the first obstacle when I decided to switch from enlisted soldier to officer, believing that I could actually make it. I struggled big time with imposter syndrome, big time with self-doubt, big time with fear. And those those are invisible forces that hold people back from realizing their dreams in life. Invisible forces are some of the most powerful forces on the face of the planet, and they stop us.
That's true.
It is like oxygen is invisible and it keeps us alive. Fear is also invisible and it'll keep us right in our comfort zone. So the biggest obstacle I faced at first was believing I could do it. And then through that, when I went back to school, I had to commission, I had to face the academic institution. That was tough for me as well. I had limiting beliefs about my intelligence. I thought that I was dumb. I thought I struggled as a kid with reading. I had a hard time focusing, and I just thought that I basically faked reading because I thought that I had a learning disability, and I kept that inside to myself. I thought that it should come easy, but in reality, when I would read a book, I was just generally confused, and I wouldn't work past the confusion. And so what ended up happening is I developed this belief system that I was just stupid. And so I had to go back to school, and I'm over here basically fearing that I'm not going to be good enough to become an officer, feeling like I'm too stupid to finish school. And so the next obstacle was overcoming all the failure and the speed bumps that I encountered by going through college and failing classes and taking tests and dealing with anxiety. Not only that, but dealing with the combat stress and the adjustment issues after coming back from a deployment too. So that was a really difficult cycle. Like when you come back from a deployment, dude, I just spent 15 months at war. And now here I am in a school with a bunch of like people in their late teens, early 20s, and they don't understand anything about life. And I just got back from Iraq for 15 months. Like I can't relate to anybody.
Yeah, you didn't have probably any veterans close by, and if you at that time, and sad because they won't know what you're talking about. You try, and then I feel you on that, man. Coming out of the military, my first deployment was supposed to be 15, but we did 13 and a half months. But if you would have stayed in the Army, you would have been ready to go on another one just as soon as you got back during those times. So
yes.
And you had a total paradigm shift because I see you now. You're up at 3 o'clock in the morning reading every day. So it's just, I say that to say this, that anything's possible with your mindset. Anything's possible because we all have greatness within inside of us. So, and this is living proof. This is living proof, man. You know what I mean? Because go ahead.
No, well, I was just it's so true, dude. Like a lot of guys get out of the military and they end up turning to the bottle, or they end up average or below average, and they don't take anything that the military taught them and apply it to life. The military gave us all the skills that you need to succeed at life if you study what they taught you. The military taught you structure. It taught you a daily routine. I live my life now like a Ranger raid.
Yeah.
Like I wake up, I'm planning in phase 1, planning and preparation. Phase 2, infill. Phase 3, execution, right? I go through it all. Phase 4, I'm going to consolidate, reorganize, and exfil. Like I'm out, bro. I'm going to live my day and my life like that. So one of the biggest things that I did along the way was I started applying the lessons that the military taught me to my life. And I really started feeling better when I started doing that. In order to get to that level of high performance, first thing I had to do is I had to start working on myself and get mentorship. So that helped me get there, but I won't get too far ahead. I just want to encourage every person that's listening right now that if you did serve the military, think back to the times where you felt your best and start bringing those things, those routines that the military taught you to do into your personal life, because it can make all the difference. You love getting up early. Like it sucks in the moment, but you love it after you go and eat that morning chow, that morning breakfast, and you're like, bro, I already got up. I did my study. I did my workout. I did my routine. And now I'm eating, and the rest of the world is up complaining about their day, and I'm kicking ass. Like you love it.
You're right. Well, after you get all that stuff by 9 o'clock in the morning and everyone else is still sleeping. I mean, I know I was guilty of that when I first got out. Like you almost want to have, I don't know if this is for everybody, for me personally, like you just want to cut ties with the military so you don't do anything. You drop the ball and all that. But doesn't say you have to go put your uniform on and go do PT, but dude, like you said, if you're getting up before the sun comes up and getting all your stuff done before 9, you've already beat most people are on their neck still. So that's a good point. One thing I wanted to ask you, did you feel like after that 15-month deployment, you had to come back and just like you missed so much time that you had to go part? That's how we felt. I know that's how I felt. Oh, we got to part. We just missed 13 and a half months. We got to go home and try to catch up all in one night, because in the military, you can't really do much, right? You can drink. So everyone's probably drank in the military, but you're really hurting yourself. So
Yeah.
how did you even come off that? And what did you feel like when you guys first got back from that deployment?
Yeah, after I got back from that first deployment, there's really like two paths in life. There's a winning life and a losing life. And a winner's life is going to be lonely, because when you choose to do something different, like even join the military, you're actually choosing to do something different and purposeful with your life. That's a winning life. When you choose to make a difference and do something about your life and live with purpose, that's a winning direction. And so when I got out of the military, I was on a winning path to start. But then all of a sudden, I'm at a crossroads, and things are not a crossroads. I'm out of the military, and my whole world, my environment is different. I'm trying to figure out what direction to go. Well, if I want to continue on the winning path, it's going to continue to be lonely. It's going to continue to be different. And so that like intersection is very difficult in life. You know, it's tough when you look at the crossroads and you're like, you know what, do I want to keep heading towards winning and success, or do I want to kind of follow the herd and do what everybody else is doing? So I'm built to win. And when you're built to win and you end up conforming to everybody else, there's nothing worse than a winner feeling like they're losing.
Yeah.
And when you conform to everybody else, you're going to internally feel like you're losing and you gave up on what's true to you. So the hardest thing for me to do when I transitioned out was stay on the path of winning. So I ended up falling into temptation. I fell into back to the party lifestyle, and I got distracted and those sort of things. And had I been a little bit more focused on where I was going and cut out the bad habits, I would have been a lot happier. So the main point that I'm trying to make here is that no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's starting your business, pursuing a career in the military, getting out of the military, winning is a direction. And when you choose in life to win, it's going to feel initially lonely. I had a hard time with that when I got out. But if you just keep on the path of loneliness, what ends up happening is you stumble upon other winners that are out there. It's like when I was in Colorado, and I used to do a lot of runs in the morning at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, it's freezing out there. It's like 20 degrees, maybe less than that, maybe 10 degrees. 4:30 in the morning, 10 degrees. And I'm out there, and maybe there's even snow hitting. There's nobody out there on those roads. I'm out there just cruising around, just trying to be, keep my mental toughness being built and stay on top of my high performance, stay on top of me, my discipline. And I'm like, there's nobody out here. But every once in a while, right around 5 o'clock, I'd see a shadow, and I'd look over, and there was one other soul out there putting in the work.
Damn.
So when it comes to winning, it's a lot like that. You're going to end up being a little bit lost and a little bit confused and a little bit lonely, but you're going to stumble upon other winners. And when you meet them, the quality of those relationships is 100 times greater than the quality of the relationships on the losing path.
Absolutely,
dude. There's nothing worse than standing in a room full of people and feeling alone.
Absolutely. Or they don't see your vision, or they just think you got a chip on your shoulder, or you're better than, or you think you're better than everyone else. No, people don't think they're better than everyone else. If you have that mindset, that's just the people you need to find and be around. And I've felt the same way. How did you find your mentor? Did you obviously, you found them somehow. Did you seek them out? Did you have trouble? Were you weeding through people back and forth, or did it sort of just all happen, at once?
Yeah. So basically the night that I put a gun to my head and I realized that like, this is enough, I need to change my life. I need to change all of my results. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was tired of dealing with the leader guilt. I was tired of my finances not going the way that I wanted them to go. I was doing relatively well in my career, but deep down inside, I was unfulfilled and unhappy. And so that caused me to search for answers. And I started doing all the stuff that, you traditionally do when a high achiever gets on this path of becoming their best. They turn to books and courses and they start studying. So I jumped onto podcasts, And I was listening to this one, and I'm a great student, man. That's the one thing about me. That's why my results have changed, is because I'm an excellent student. I'll self-study and I will apply the information that I've gained until I find the next level of information. Then I just keep climbing. So
Absolutely.
I did that with podcasts first, free information first. And this lady came on the show that I was listening to. She was very successful, and she was talking about success strategies. She had been in a similar situation as me, where she didn't know a lot of people that were very holistically successful outside of her career and wanted guidance in life to become more successful. Like, it was like me as an infantry officer. Yeah, I had the military down, but I had the rest of my life was in shambles, right? My finances were a mess. My relationships were a mess. My habits were a mess. My spirituality was a mess. Everything in my life was a mess, other than on the outside looking in. He's like, oh, he's got his stuff together. So I was like, I don't know anybody that's like holistically successful. And she said, well, her advice on the show was that if you don't know anybody, find somebody and then interview them and ask them about success. And that planted a seed in my head. And I was like, okay, so all I got to do is find somebody successful and ask them how they became successful. So I did that. I got on the internet and I started searching around, and I listened to another podcast, and I ended up stumbling upon this guy on another podcast. And I reached out to him and asked him. I liked all of his results. I'm like, bro, you got the life that I want. I can relate to you. You've been through similar challenges. I love your mindset. I love the people that you surround yourself by. I want to interview you and ask you how you did it. So I asked him, and he gave me 30 minutes of his time. This guy, he had been trained and coached by Zig Ziglar.
Okay.
So he was trained by Zig Ziglar for 18 months in person before, like, the internet and everything like that.
Okay.
And when I sat him down and I started talking to him, he asked me about me, and he asked me about my challenges, and he gave me some success strategies. But what he really did is he changed my life with one conversation. He told me this story. He said, Jeremiah, I can tell you're searching. I can tell that you want to feel happier. You want higher levels of success. He's like, in order to achieve that, let me tell you a story. And he sat me down. He said, there's a boy, and he comes into his dad's room, and his dad's doing like some work at night, some taxes. And he's like, it's 7:00 at night. The boy comes in, and the boy's like, Dad, will you come play with me? And the dad's like, he's like, well, I got to finish my work. And he's like, no, Dad, will you come play with me? He's like, yeah, son, I will come play with you. But you know what? The dad's like trying to find a way to buy himself some time so he can finish doing the work. He grabs this magazine off of his table. On the cover of it is a picture of the globe, the world. So he grabs that cover and he rips it up. And he says, you know what, son, I will go play with you, but I want you to go put this puzzle together first. So he has this magazine cover that he rips up into a little tiny puzzle, right? And he takes it to the other room. He sets it down. And the kid, he's like, go ahead and put that together, and then I'll play with you. And he thinks he bought himself several hours. And the kid comes back in like within 5 or 10 minutes. Dad, I put the puzzle together. It's done. He's like, what the hell? How'd you do that thing? How'd you put it together in like 5 or 10 minutes? It should have taken you hours. Goes in there and he looks at it. And the globe is perfectly put together. The kid put it together perfectly. He's like, how'd you do that? And he's like, well, Dad, he's like, when you grab the magazine cover, on the picture, on the front of the cover was a picture of the globe, picture of the world. But on the back, I saw a cartoon picture of a boy. And I knew that all I had to do to get the world together was put the boy together first. And so what he told me, he said, Jeremiah, you're feeling unfulfilled. You're feeling not happy. You're not holistically successful because we have to put you together first. When we put you together, the world will get put together too. And so that's how I went about getting a mentor. Is I'm a student of gaining perspective. I want to gain perspective. Steve Jobs said this. He said, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect them looking forwards. So all the answers that we want in life, if we want to improve our life, we want to become a higher level entrepreneur, a higher level leader. We want more success. We want to build elite level discipline and just become the top 1% of society, the top 0.01%. All we have to do is get around the people that have that information, gain their perspective, and then we will have all the dots connected, and we have the answers to get to the same vibrational plane, the same frequency. Okay.
But we got to
So
put ourselves out there first and get out of our own comfort zone and seek guidance, not just throw a pity party for yourself, essentially.
that's exactly right. But like I said, Steve Jobs said, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You do not know what the path is going to be, like what your steps are looking forward. You will only know for sure what they are when you look backwards. So what does that mean? That means that I need to get around people that have the results that I want, and they can tell me what the steps are. But you have to be you have to have so much pride and ego to not put yourself out there and ask for the help. So the biggest thing that keeps people broken in life is their pride and their ego. They don't ask for the steps. They don't ask for the help from the people that have the results that they want.
Do you think it was your pride and your ego that didn't want to get help while you were still in the military?
Absolutely.
So what was the one thing that got you over that hurdle? Was it just working with your mentor and seeing what you actually had to do is swallow your pride, whether it's for a VA disability or whether it's for a mentor? What was it for you? Was it just everything that you were learning along the way and said, you know what, I got to change myself or else I'm not going to be able to put the world back together?
Yeah, I mean, from 2005 to 2000, well, I would say after I got back from Iraq and I worked my way into getting into the Rangers, like life started kind of compounding on me, and I had already tried to become an entrepreneur while on active duty. So I had basically been failing as an entrepreneur for years before I met my mentor. And so
Okay.
I got just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when I put a gun to my head, I said, dude, enough is enough. You need to try it differently. Stop doing things alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the lessons that he taught me, which I teach my clients now, is that in order to accomplish any mission, you need to build it. He called it a dream team. I call it a personal task force.
Okay.
Like in order to accomplish your mission, you need to build a personal task force like we had as Rangers, right? I need to build a whole team of people that are going to help me accomplish the mission. And we're all going to be working towards this mission, whether it's a certain net worth or a certain, I don't know what it is, physical goal. We're all going to lose weight. We're all going to cut bad habits. We're all going to just be higher quality leaders. We're going to work on just every aspect of our life and just become great human beings. That's our mission. We need to build a whole team to accomplish that. I need to have the person that's great at discipline. I need to have the person that's good with money. I need to have the person that's good with business. I need to have the person that's good with spirituality, with relationships. And I need to build this personal task force to help me take my life to where I want it to go. So the thing that helped me was, I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired and doing things myself. I call it an IMA. IMAs are, I'm going to do it myself. That's a poor mentality, a broken mentality. An IMA says, I need to literally do everything myself. You do not do my yard work. Do not do my dishes. Do not help me with my finances. Don't help me with my career. Don't help me with my relationships. Don't help me with my spirituality. Don't help me. Don't help me at all. That's a broken mentality that I had. But the moment that I gave up my pride and my ego and I started shifting from an IMA to building my personal task force, I got the mentor. And then I got this other mentor. And then I got this expert over here in entrepreneurship. And I got this expert over here in spirituality. And then I started building out this team. And now if you go to my social media on Instagram, you'll notice some high-level entrepreneurs that follow me. You'll notice guys like Andy Frisella that follow me. You'll notice Michael Chandler, who's one of the top fighters in the UFC. He follows me. I've built an incredible network just by getting out of my own way and being a person of value to these other people and building that personal task force. But it did come down to dropping the pride and the ego.
Absolutely. Dude, that's pretty straight, man. Straight to it, no sugarcoating and just being honest with yourself. A lot of people, I think myself included, we all have trouble swallowing our pride when in the service, right? When we were in, hey, you're weak if you go to sick call. It doesn't matter if you're a cook, doesn't matter if you're a ranger. And honestly, you're just setting yourself up for failure, because if you go through war, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going to be the same as a civilian that's gone to school and then they just went to college, community college, they lived the pretty life. They haven't seen what we've seen. It doesn't matter what your MOS is. We all know people that didn't make it back. We all know people that fell victim to 22 suicides a day. That's not the same as what's out there for people that's never experienced it. So, I'm curious to ask you about this. Like, what did sick call look like? Even two-part question. One, when you're in the Rangers, I'm assuming it's probably non-existent unless you really needed it, which is kind of fucked up. And two, even as a company commander in an infantry unit, you guys had all them all the people that are hard chargers, and they don't really probably want to do it because they think it's pride and ego, which plays a huge factor in it. What did those look like for you?
When I was enlisted, I got pneumonia after I got back from Iraq. And I lost 15 pounds in 2 days. I was so sick. My immune system was so shot that my gums were bleeding if you were to touch them.
Damn.
And I had to go to the emergency room. I was at home on R&R, laying next to the fireplace in chills. I was dating my wife at the time. She was my girlfriend. She was there. And I was literally laying next to the fireplace, just shivering and in complete pain, just losing weight, not being able to eat, and bleeding from the mouth. Well, I ended up going to the ER, and they tell me that I had pneumonia. And so they put me on antibiotics. I almost died. And 2 weeks later, I was back, like 10 days later, whatever it was, I was back at my unit. I tell my platoon sergeant, hey, I just had pneumonia a couple weeks ago. I need to go to sick call. They told me to go to sick call to just make sure that I'm good once I get back. And like I said, I'm a great student. I'm a follower, and I'll do whatever you tell me to do. And he's like, you can go to sick call right after we go do this 5-mile run. And I was like,
damn.
Roger that, right? So I didn't go to sick call. I don't think I ever skipped PT to go to sick call when I was in the service at all. However, there was probably times where I should have. And I did neglect some injuries while I was serving that I probably should have put down on paper. However, I had fear that they would stop me from advancing my career. Like I tore my pec in the Ranger Regiment, and I hid that for a long time. I actually, it's a whole nother story. I won't get into it. But basically, when I got into the Ranger Regiment, there was judgment in both. There was judgment about going to sick call throughout my entire military career. It doesn't matter if it was in the Ranger Regiment, whether it was in the conventional side. But the thing is like, you have to remember a couple of things. Like, the thing that messes up sick call for the military is that there's people that take advantage of the system.
Absolutely.
And so fear of judgment is one of the biggest things that holds people back in life. It's what stops people from starting their online business. It's the thing that stops people from going to the gym and starting to work out because they're scared that people are going to judge them. Okay, so fear of judgment is really the bigger issue that we're talking about here. It doesn't really matter if we're talking about sick call. I would say, though, that as a culture, it was looked down upon more on the conventional side to go to sick call because with the Rangers, guys were too stubborn to go anyway.
Right.
And they probably should have gone, right? Like they would neglect their physical and health. But when they did go, the treatment was exceptional. They would you have some top level. We had some guys that were sports performance coaches from the Seattle Seahawks that were available to us if we wanted to ask them questions about recovering our body. So they actually took recovering from training very, very seriously, but there was far less people going to sick call on a regular basis over there, probably because we just did preventative maintenance so much. Like, it was a higher level that we focused on our fitness. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, but I mean, mentally though, you guys were going through it more than maybe conventional side, even physically, but you guys probably built out for it. At least you had the option to go talk to the professionals if you needed to. So, I mean, that's something that everyone should take up. It's not to be judged, who cares if you're a sergeant major or a private, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And I mean, I had a mentor. So I call all of the mentors that I've had in my life, I created a character name. That character name is Major Steel.
Okay.
And it's the guy that was the greatest leader in every stage of my life. And I just call him Major Steel because some of those guys, I can't really share their names. It just makes it easier for everybody to understand. So Major Steel is like the epitome of a great leader. And what he taught me as I was coming up was that nobody's going to take better care of you than you.
It's true.
And so, you guys really do need to take care of yourself. Okay. Now there's a fine line between taking care of yourself and enrolling in your own excuses. Now, if you have a victim mindset and you have a weak mindset, that's the first thing that you need to focus on. But if you're on the other side, you don't have a victim mindset and you're too stubborn and you're too stupid to go ask for help, you need to drop the pride and ego and take care of you. Okay. So, I would just encourage the thing that separated the Ranger Regiment from my perspective from the conventional was that in the regiment, everybody was pursuing excellence. So it didn't matter if we were talking about physical fitness. Didn't matter if we were talking about taking care of your health. Like, it didn't matter if we were talking about that or if we were talking about war. These guys were trying to be the best at all of it. Like, my platoon sergeant was like one of the first people I met that had an 800 credit score.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the adjacent platoon next to me, 3 out of 4 of those guys those squad leaders had degrees. Like, all of these guys were pursuing excellence in all areas of life. And so I think if we all just took that approach, it doesn't matter. I have this rule. It's like, don't dabble with my problems. Okay. So if you play around with your problems are like termites. There's never just one.
Yeah.
So if you ignore a bill, it turns into 2, it turns into 3. Next thing you know, you peel the fucking wood back on the floor and there's all these termites there with all your problems. So how Aristotle said that excellence is a habit, right? He said excellence is not, he said we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act. Excellence is a habit. Aristotle. So what does that mean? That means that how you do one thing is how you do everything. So what we should really be trying to do in life to win and become the top 1%, 0.01%, is we have to treat every area of our life with excellence. And that means that we should treat our wake up time with excellence, that what we put in our mouth with excellence, how we do our training, how we take care of our body. Every area of life, we should be pursuing excellence. And if we have that mentality, then the problems in our life start to go away in every area.
Yeah, but most people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. Going back to that's what we touched on earlier, the forces that you can't see, comfort zone, fear, anxiety. People don't want to be great. I think some people do and they pursue it, but the other people that are okay with what they have, that they need more. I don't know what they need more of. I mean, more things to go, more problems to wake up and see it. I mean, I'm not the best one out there. I'm by no means have accomplished what you have, but at the same time, we're all on a different mission. We're all on we can be on that path to excellence, but like you said, you got to do it in every aspect of life. So
yeah,
right.
It has to become part of who you are as a person. So your mind, this is the thing. This is a mindset class right here that we're going to go into. So the smartest people on the planet can't tell you what the mind looks like. When I say, what does the mind look like? People will often say like they'll draw out the brain. That's actually not true. The brain is just part of you. It's part of your physical body. The mind is more of an energy. It's something that you have. It's more of a consciousness than anything. Like, if I were to ask you to close your eyes and think about the beaches of Florida, you could do that and you could almost teleport there with your mind. So your mind is a very, very powerful tool. And what I've learned over the years is how to use my tool, my greatest weapon, to get everything that I want in life, to include the dream life that I'm living right now. I just bought my wife a Lamborghini Urus. How did I do that? I used my mind. Okay. When I almost killed myself, my weapon was pointed at me. So your mind can do great damage. It can end your life, or it can do things like getting a Lamborghini Urus for your wife. Look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is using his mind to get the entire planet rallied behind his cause of going to Mars. That is the power of your mindset. It is the most dangerous weapon on the face of the planet. And what are most people pointing that weapon at? Themselves.
So yeah, themselves, or getting programmed by other people's propaganda.
Yeah.
Not harvesting what they want. I mean, a lot of people don't have dreams, and then a dream is nothing without a goal. You can think of something all day, but do you write it down? Do you program your subconscious mind? Are you working towards that goal every day? I remember when I was contracting, I used to write my goals out every day, dude. And I fell off that. It's not to say I know you journal every day, and that's a strong weapon for success as well. But it's hard to be great. It's easy to fall back into old traps. But just talking with you here and seeing where you've come from and where you're going, I still know it's possible, not only for me but for everyone else. But it's up to us to flip that switch and get going on it, man. Like, wake up every day and try to do better than you did before. That's a hard task, man. You'll be tired. You wake up early or do more with your kids or your family or whatever the case may be, your business or all that combined. You're going to be tired at the end of the day, man. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm still up at 12 o'clock watching television, soap operas. Like, that's trash, to be honest with you guys and girls. Like, some people might not want to hear that, or you guys get the news on, listen to someone, and that's what's tearing this country and everything else apart, the world, because no one's taking action. They're all just listening to other people.
When you live in a world where you're only listening to everything else outside of yourself, you live a reactive life.
Right.
Okay. A quick path to a very miserable life is to lead your life from the outside in, to make your decisions based off of the values and opinions of other people. What the news is telling you, what social media is telling you, what your friends and family is telling you. When I was at my most miserable, is because I was living my life from the outside in.
Right.
But when I started living my purpose, getting into the regiment, becoming an entrepreneur, building my dream life, I started shifting my mindset from living from the outside in to the inside out. I started living as a creator. So everybody, I teach this to my clients. Your mind has this tool. It's called a mental Gerber. I like the term because a Gerber is like a Swiss Army knife. It has a lot of different tools to it that can open different things, right? You got one right there? Yeah. Oh, you're getting your water. But yeah, no, we all have Gerbers. Like if you're in the military, you probably had a Gerber at some point in time. It's like a Swiss Army knife. And inside of your mind is all these tools that can help you get whatever goal that you set. These tools include things like your imagination, your intuition, by the way, your consciousness, which is your ability to observe your self-talk. That is a tool. Like if you would talk to people the way that you talk to yourself, not you, but the listener, everybody here, all of us, we're all guilty of this. Yeah. If we would talk to people the way that we talk to ourselves, we wouldn't have any friends. We are so mean to ourselves, man.
That's true.
So what type of self-talk do you have? So your mental Gerber has all these tools. I won't go into all of them here, but you have things like perception, memory, consciousness. You have the ability to create. You have the ability kind of like to be able to just turn something into something from nothing.
True.
That's how I created the life that I'm living now. I was on a plane. I was in the military in Afghanistan, and I put pen to paper and I drafted out the exact life that I wanted. I said, I want to know multimillionaires. I want to be able to text 10 of them at any point in time and have friends like that. I want to know world-class athletes. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be able to travel around the world teaching people the expertise that I've gained. And I wrote it all out and I scripted it out, and my life has become exactly that. Now, that's living a creative life. So if you're in a spot right now where life sucks and it's difficult, the first thing that you need to do is you need to create a vision for where you want to go. The best way to get out of a hole is to create a vision, create a light at the end of the tunnel, like create that opening and now start working towards that. But if you keep focusing on the hole, it's like being stuck in a foxhole and you're just looking down at the ground the whole time. Man, there's no way out of here. There's no way out of here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just look up and climb out, bro. Come on.
You're not that deep into it. Yeah, absolutely not. Hey, what was your vision on your academy, on Conquer Academy? How'd that start up?
Yeah, it started up because when I actually never wanted to be a coach.
Why not?
But coaching called me. And it's just kind of a theme in my life. I never wanted to be a leader. I was like, when I was a kid, I was the shy kid in a classroom that if you called on me, I turned flush and red. I had so much fear and I was so nervous. I didn't want to be out front. But what ended up happening is I just never let fear hold me back. I started confronting fear little by little, and fearlessness is a muscle. The more you start overcoming your fear, the more confident you start becoming. And so my life progressed because I never allowed fear to punk me and put me in my place. And that evolved into me getting more and more responsibility. I was a student leader in basic training, AIT, and ROTC. Every step of the way, I would get these leadership responsibilities that I would get tagged with whatever it was. And I was just too scared to fail so I would succeed. Like I remember in basic training, they told me that as a student leader, my job was to make sure everybody got in and out of the chow hall on time. And we had to do it in like 4.5 minutes or something like that. I would be the last one in. I'd barely eat. I'd get everybody through. I was just scared to fail. So I was just pushing the line through. Let guys get in, get out, watching my clock get out. And so this like having a little bit of fear existing with it, but continuing to press through has really helped me in life. And so the way that Conquer Academy started is that I started working with my mentor, and he sat me down and he pointed out the obvious to me. There's a saying. The saying is, a fish sees water last. You might not know what your biggest opportunity is because you're inside of it. You can't see it, right? And so he pointed out, he's like, Jeremiah, you have an amazing track record in the military. You've accomplished a lot as a leader. When it comes to high performance, you know that very well. You're an expert at mindset. Look at all these things that you've done. All you have to do is reverse engineer what you've done. And then through my coaching, also implement that into your life, and then help others with all the information you've gained over the years. I think you would do an exceptional job as a coach. And when he said that, I kind of laughed. I was like, I can't be a coach. That's not me. But the thing is when he introduced that idea, I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I respected the guy. I was like, you have all the results that I want in life. You're telling me that I have something inside of me. He believed in me. I didn't believe in myself. And so I decided to give it a shot. I confronted my fear, my fear of being rejected, my fear of not being a good coach. And I put myself out there on social media, and I got a sale the first time. My first sale was, it was a $1,500 sale, but they paid $500 down. And then in 3 weeks, my next sale was $5,000.
Nice.
And so I went from making, that was like, I mean, almost my monthly, it was, well, it depends on how you kind of look at it, but those numbers like were mind-blowing numbers to me at the time.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is because I didn't want to fail my clients, I started over-delivering, and I really helped them. I got even better at my job of transforming their life. I helped them with all sorts of things: work-life balance, happiness, fulfillment, more time, more, whatever it was. I helped them reach holistic success in the areas that I knew I could help in. And that turned into the next customer, the next customer, the next customer. And then I launched my group program. Next thing you know, more and more people are coming to me asking for more help about how to transform their lives and their businesses. And I just kept being, trying to do a good job. And the thing is that when you are in alignment with your calling, things are actually pretty effortless. And so I could have the most miserable day, but if I jump on a call like this, a podcast, I jump on with a client, I go from the negative to the positive super quick. Your purpose in life, your calling in life, it'll do that for you. But you have to listen to it. And your calling is going to show up in the form of a whisper. Like when my mentor told me that I should be a coach, he said it, and in the back of my mind, I could kind of hear it. Like, hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do this. Hey, you should do this. You should give it a shot. And I was like, nah. Right. The voice that was telling me that I should be a coach was quiet, and it was like a whisper. That was my calling. And then I had all the negative voice in my head. Bro, you're going to fail. Don't do it. Fear of criticism. All of the negative was swarming me. The negative voice in our lives is the loudest, and it pulls us away from our calling. But our calling is often the quietest, and it shows up in our ear like a whisper. So if you want to find your calling in life, all you really have to do is listen to the whispers. And by listening to them, you'll hear where you should go. Your intuition is going to guide you. Your intuition is like one of the greatest compasses for life direction ever. It'll tell you exactly where you got to go. You just have to listen to it. And then the next step is you got to overcome the terror barrier. You got to break through fear in order to get it. But that comes through coaching and commitment to the path.
So where can someone find you if they want to, get some coaching from you? What's the easiest way to contact you?
Bro, I'm so hands-on on Instagram. That's my platform. So JERAMIAHSOLVEN. And guys, even if you don't want coaching from me, reach out and build the community, dude. One of the best things that I did before I got out of the military, or before you do anything in life, it doesn't matter if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you are an entrepreneur, you just know that you're going to keep leveling up. Like, start building relationships in advance. I started doing that far before I became a coach and started a business, because relationships become a lot like your ammunition for the objective. You would hate to get to the mission. You want to launch the business. You want whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. You would hate to get there and not have the ammunition to accomplish the mission. So pick up the ammo along the way. Build relationships with like-minded individuals, especially if my story resonated with you. So yeah, I answer every single DM that comes through. It is me. If you don't believe it's me, I'll prove it to you. Okay. I'll be like, yep, it's me, motherfucker.
Nah, dude, you're not capping on that, dude. But I got a question. two-part question. Where do you see your academy going? What's your goal for that? And part two, what's the biggest challenge or hurdle that you see all these CEOs and executives, even they're making top tier money? Is there something in common that they all need to face and get over?
Yeah. The direction that we're going is, so this is the thing, is our mission is to bring more good in the world. Conquer Academy's mission is to bring more good in the world and help others achieve their best. So while we specialize in leadership, high performance, what we're really about is making you the best version of you, helping you get what you want. If we can do that and turn you into a high quality leader and help you get the results that you want, then we're doing our mission and fulfilling our purpose in life. So you want to build a business, you want to scale the business, you want to stay in your career, advance your career, and be a key leader inside of your career. It doesn't matter what it is. You want to get chopped up and shredded. I got my basic level program is discipline, fitness, and discipline, fitness, and nutrition. The idea is we got to get your habits right and build your confidence up across time, basically put you on a PT program, right? And start building you across time, teach you elite level mindset. And then from there, that program goes for $300 a month or up to $2K for the year. And then it's called the table. And then the winner's table is where we teach you business and life success. So this is elite level mindset. And this is where I'm going to teach you how to transform your life and give you a step-by-step process to change your thinking and weaponize your mind. The price for that program ranges from $1,500 to $10,500. And then I have one-on-one coaching with me, which kind of varies based off of the individual. So the bottom line here is that the Conquer Academy mission is for us to serve you, help you guys get what you want. In order to get there, we have to build you. We have to get you right. And then the world becomes right. And then we have to develop your mindset to get there. Now, the next piece of this is we're going to become the best coaching company on the face of the planet. That's what we're doing. I only think in terms of the best. That's how my mind has continuously worked. My results, I always grow, I always improve, and I'm bringing everybody with me. So that's where we're headed. Now, the second part to your question is what challenges do people commonly have? Oh, it's always the same. There's growth-seeking individuals out there that want more. And the thing that holds them all back is the fear. It's fear, bro. It's fear of criticism, fear of failure. It's fear of not having the right plan. It's fear of success. What if I get there and I have to give up my family time? What if I go for this dream and I don't actually get it? Guys, fear has killed more dreams than failure ever has. So the worst thing that you can do is like live in these hypotheticals, live in this imaginary scenario of the future where you fail. All you have is right here and right now. I don't live in hypotheticals.
That's true.
Like tomorrow doesn't exist. You cast a vision that excites you. But what that does, it allows you to be present in today. So what we really need to focus on is yesterday is gone. Tomorrow hasn't happened. All we have is today. And so what you and I need to do, and every person that's listening needs to focus on conquering the day. We need to plan our life with our vision, our day by the clock, and build brick by boring brick. And that's how we change our lives.
Absolutely. Hey, you know where the most valuable place is on earth?
What is that?
I'm asking you. You got to answer. You got to give me an answer.
The most valuable place on earth?
Yeah.
Bro, it's inside of your thoughts.
All right, give me the second one. Or no, it's trick questions. It's the graveyard, man, because that's where all people's dreams and goals go to die, dude.
Oh, I love that one. I love that. That's a good one.
Yeah, but no,
the place on earth is the graveyard because that's where everybody's dreams go to die. That's good.
Yeah, maybe I worded it wrong, but something along the line. It's like, yeah, but that's true though, man. But it doesn't have to be the case. We can change that narrative. We all act on it now. Like you said, do it now. We know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what next hour holds, dude. You could do the best we can. We try to have the best conversation right now. Nothing's scripted. Come on here. We don't know nothing. We knew we both were in the military. You gave me your time, and we got on here and made it happen. You know what I mean? So that's all we can do. And whatever you're doing next, even if you're going to do a cannonball in that pool, do the best cannonball you can do. Doesn't really matter, man. You know what I mean? So let's keep it going. But what's one thing you miss about the military?
Oof. One thing I miss about the military is, man, the camaraderie, the like-minded individuals, when you find your tribe in life, like sometimes when you go through the military, you find these units, you didn't really vibe with people, but along the way, you find the right team. You find the right team. So having that is something I missed, but I finally have found it in entrepreneurship over the years. It's just taken some work on my part. And then the other part is you feel like a fucking superhero when you put that body armor on, bro.
I'll get you some sent over to you, man. You want some? You need some? You probably got some for your workouts or something. I'm sure you still got something going on.
Yeah.
What about what
right.
about what about the food and the DFAC and the Ranger Regiment? It's supposed to be pretty good, right?
I mean, that stuff was always good, bro. You know, the eggs were good. I always did eggs with some oatmeal, and got that coffee afterwards for that morning chow. That was always good. That turpentine.
There you go. Turpentine. I was gonna tell. Say that. Yeah, there you go. You already know it, just like that old cadence. Hey,
Yeah.
so self-development, man. Who do you like for that? Who's some of your gurus that you like? Obviously, you said Zig Ziglar. I'm sure you probably got some more. I'm just curious to hear your thoughts because I like that stuff too. And when you were talking about the emotional, the spiritual, the business, the family, it just kind of remind me of what Brian Tracy talks about, like in some of his books and teachings. Just got to have goals in all those areas, and then all together they'll work for the greater good. But curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, that's the thing is that I've gone really, really in depth into personal development over the years. I mean, like I said, this year alone, I think I put close like to $75,000 into my own personal development. That's like working on my mindset, going to events and stuff like that. They're all really, really good. I mean, Andy Frisella is the guy that built me up big time back in like 2000. And I just was listening to his podcast back in like 2015. I would listen to a lot of his stuff. Coach Chris Patterson, he's not as big on social media, but he changed my life completely. But here's the thing that I'll say is you guys, if you, whatever you're looking for, come to me for it, because I have a podcast. I have my Instagram page. I'm building this thing out. So it's the best personal development book on the face of the planet. Everything that you're looking for, you could find through my answers. And my personal mission is to streamline your information flow and save you all the time and hassle of jumping around in all these different YouTube videos and doing all the searching, and just deliver you all the best stuff. I've already been the vehicle for you. Just let me deliver that information to you. So come to me and I'll completely change. Not only that, but a lot of these guys in the space, in the personal development space, not some of these OGs like you mentioned, but these other guys, bro, their lives don't change. They're not actually using the material that they're learning. These are people that are good at speaking, but their life doesn't change.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on here? So you're just good at articulating. You have all the information, but you don't actually know it, because there's a difference between information, having the information, and knowing. When you have the information, you're able to recite the info. Like I could read a book and tell you how you're supposed to read a book about riding a bike, and I could tell you how to ride a bike through talking. But do I know how to ride the bike? No, I don't know how to ride the bike until I use the information. I get on the bike, I ride the bike, and I fuse with the information. Then I know. So my life from Tarzan kid to enlisted soldier to ranger to company commander to entrepreneur to where I'm going next is all an implementation of the material that I've gained over the years. I don't know anybody else that's doing it as good as I am personally. And I don't mean that with ego and arrogance. I mean that with humility. So guys, I want to save you time and pain going other places. Not to say that there's not great people out there. You guys could probably find them. If you like them, go to them. All personal development is going to be good for you no matter what. I'm just saying that pay attention to who you're taking advice from, because you don't want to take one of the fastest paths to failure is to take bad advice from good people. If you take advice from somebody that doesn't have the results that you want to get in life, that can really derail you. Okay. My mom told me she didn't want me to join the military. She loves me. That was some bad advice, because the military changed my life.
Right.
If I would have listened to her, I would end up miserable. So that's my advice. Don't take bad advice from good people, and focus on getting the information from the people that that have the results that you want.
What do you think that return on investment is going to be for that 75,000? Because a lot of people are hesitant to pull the trigger to go to these events and go to these masterminds and go to that stuff like that. But in all reality, you're not going to grow without it. So I feel like you're probably going to at least 10x that, or even more, man.
My mindset, the thing that's helped me out the most is like society completely fucks you guys. Like it fucks everybody. And it tells you that it's okay to buy a $2,000 iPhone, but it's not okay to put $2,000 into your own personal development.
Exactly.
That is so wrong. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm just trying to frame that you have a paradigm, you have what you're familiar with inside of you that's controlling everything that you do in life. You're not used to investing in yourself. it's going to be hard to make that first investment. The first investment I did was like, I think it was like $1,000 or $2,000 for like 12 weeks or something like that. It was working on my mindset. But my mentality, this is what you guys need to know. The worst investment that you make into you is still better than the worst investment you make in any other thing that's out there on the face of the planet.
That's true.
Like, it doesn't matter. You make a bad investment into real estate, stocks, fucking crypto, whatever. All of that can tank. You put the worst investment into you and you can still get something out of it. So
yeah, it's true.
So what I want to encourage you to do is, like, if you want to grow and improve, your next level in life is going to cost you your time, a little bit more time. It's going to cost you your comfort, and it's going to cost you a little bit of money. Your next level in life is going to cost you time, money, and comfort. So do you really want the next level? Because every step of my way, I've had to spend more than I was comfortable to spend on myself in order to stretch like a rubber band, right? Stretch and then boom, snap, snatch, strap, over and over and over again. So a lot of where I was going wrong before is I wanted the reward before I made the investment. I wanted my life to change before I invested in myself.
How was that voice in your head when you were on the fence of making that investment? You probably were like, nah, don't do it. It's a waste of money. But once you get over that, now you're doing it like none other. Now it's no question asked. But how was it at first though? You had that fear and that bullshit coming at you, or what?
Yeah, your relationship with money is always going to be the obstacle that stops you from investing in yourself. So it's not about the amount, it's about your relationship to money. Okay, so if you fear like there's not enough money in the world, you fear like if you spend it, it's going to be hard to get back. If you have all these belief systems about the money, it's going to be hard to let go. You have a toxic relationship with the money. So we need to work on that. That's one of the reasons why you get coaching too. Like, I had to get coaching as well. But yeah, it's never a comfortable thing. You just have to get used to it and get accustomed to investing in yourself. And the way that I personally do it is I ask myself a question. I said, my mentor taught me this as well. He said, Jeremiah, before you make any investment into yourself, just ask yourself this. He said, ask yourself, where is my life going to be in a year from now if I do this? Where is my life going to be in a year from now if I don't? Okay, now if you do it, basically what that says is that if you do it and the repercussions aren't bad in a year and it's only a net positive, then you should probably do it. Right? Like, where am I going to be this in a year if I do this? If I make this investment, is it going to be a net positive or a net negative? It's going to be a net positive. Then I should probably do it. And the last thing is that trust your intuition. Your intuition is always guiding you towards what's true to you and what's right to you. The best decisions in your life came through intuition. The moment you start overthinking is the moment you start self-sabotaging. You start thinking about, oh, I can't, you look at your bank account, you're like, oh, I can't really stretch. I can't really spend because I don't have the perfect amount of money. You're never going to have the perfect amount of money. If you trust in yourself, you're betting in you. Make the investment, you spend the money, and then you do the work. Like, I had this guy, he was struggling getting a job. And I was like back when I first started coaching, and I was just helping out people that were beginning in life. And he was like, I'm having a hard time getting a job. And he's like, oh, I'm also struggling with procrastination. And I was like, okay, what do you got in the savings account? He's like, oh, I got about 10 grand. Or no, it was like 5 grand or something like that. Somewhere in there, 5 or 10 grand. And I told him, I was like, I want you to spend it. I was like, now I can't tell you exactly what to do with your money, but I want you to invest into yourself. Not all of it. I want you to put some skin in the game, and I want you to put some pressure on yourself with your savings. And so he invested, he put a down payment into my program. And the next thing you know, he went from no job and procrastinating to working every single day and getting a job and making money. He 10x'd his income because he got rid of this. You have to get rid of something in order to create room for something else. Like, if I want new shoes, I got to throw out all the old shoes.
Right.
So the savings account, he got the money out of the savings account, and that caused him to feel like he needed to refill it. And then he went out and did the work.
Got a lot of fire underneath his ass.
Exactly. You want to build the business, and you're trying to figure out how to hit the next level. Make the investment. You're going to figure out whatever information you need from the investment in order to hit the business. Okay. So that's what I would recommend is, like, trust your intuition. Ask yourself the question, what happens if I do this? What happens if I don't?
No, absolutely. And what you had said about it's never going to be the right time is kind of perfect too, because you get into the analysis paralysis of, oh, I did it myself. I'll just speak on my own. I don't want to downplay anyone else's issue or whatever. I mean, I used to want to do a food truck, but it's like the time's never going to be right. It's never going to be right. The money's never going to be right. The loan, the space, this, that. Like, no one wants to talk to you unless you got the food truck. I can go around all day and say, hey, man, I'm an Army veteran, blah, 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 sell them a good story and say, you think I can come here with my food truck? Well, yeah. Do you have one? Oh, no, no. Oh, well, we just wasted fucking time. You got to dive in, man. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You got to dive in. But no, I mean, I know you got stuff going on, and I really appreciate you coming on here today. And, I'm glad that we got connected, hashed everything out, and made this conversation happen. I really appreciate you being vulnerable and open, sharing all your experiences from the good and the bad. A lot of people like to just talk about the good, but I'm glad that you're a human being and you shared the bad as well. So you didn't come on here and just say about all the great things you've done, but you're human and you went through the same stuff that other people are facing in the military and outside the military. So if you got, just wanted to open it up to you and see if we left anything off or if you wanted to tap on anything else before we shut it down for the day. But thank you. I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me. My last statement here, guys, is that for those of you that are listening, take action on something that I've said today. Like the worst thing in the world is a bunch of people that sit on information and don't do anything about it. I can't stand that. And I'm on a mission to build leaders. So I need people that take action, kick ass. And there's a leader inside of you. You are leading somebody right now, whether it's your friends, your family, yourself. And the quicker you realize that you are a leader, the quicker you can become a better one. Okay. But if you keep saying you're not a leader, you're going to keep living a low quality life. And I want you to rise up. I need help on my mission of making this world a better place. I abandoned a 15-year career where I got into the best military unit that you could imagine. I gave that all up. I, became the company commander. I walked away from it all to fulfill my purpose and my calling. And I want your help. And I expect you to do the same. So that's my message. Be the leader that you were born to become, man.
I appreciate you coming on, Jeremiah, and I look forward to keeping our connection open and see what's to come for you. And I know you've helped me out, and keep it going, man. If you guys made it this far, thank you for joining us on to this podcast. If you know other veterans or people in the military space that want to come on here and share their stories, I'd be happy to have them on. Everyone's voice matters. Everyone's stories matter. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. And keep up the good work. Until next time, I hope you guys have a blessed day. Appreciate y'all staying by.